Okay, it's time for everyone's fifth favorite custom card review series, in which I show you a new picture of a Kiza I had commissioned about a month ago. Funny story about Aki, the whole mascot of the channel. You may have noticed, but I myself am not female, yet I have a female anime character as the profile picture for the entire channel. And the reason I chose it is not because I have an affinity for 5Ds. I never actually watched it. I just chose it at random, and I thought she was pretty great. So there's the story. I thought it would be more marketable. I thought that picture would appeal to the Yu-Gi-Oh fan base more than something else. That's all it is. Anyways, in today's video, we will be talking about a 5-headed dragon custom card review series. Like always, I'm still just going through my backlog, and these were sent in probably like last May. Not last May, this year's May, which is still quite a long time ago. Just to show, I'm still going through them. Like, you can totally send me new custom cards, and I'm absolutely like looking through them and adding the ones I like. It's just, I get so many, and it might take me a while. So if you send some in today, I might review them next week or 2 years from now. Either or not at all, because there's lots that I don't review for various reasons. And today we have 5-headed dragon. It looks cool. Much more likely to review stuff if they're based on an existing archetype. For those of you who don't know what 5-headed dragon is, it's a bad fusion monster that has 5,000 attack and defense and has a pretty cool artwork. Like, they even re-released a new version of it, just to change the artwork. It still has the same effect and everything, still not very good, but it looks cool. So, I guess this series, I haven't actually read the cards yet, so what if 5-headed dragon was good? First up we have Growing Dragon. It has a little picture of Spyro in it. He's a famous video game character from a PlayStation 1 series. Some tips if you're sending in custom card review stuff: make sure it actually has a picture in it. Just grab something from online if you don't know what kind of picture it is or don't want to make something yourself, because there are some people who will send in custom cards without any pictures. And you know, like, I have so many with very well thought out pictures added to them that there's no real reason for me to review them if they don't have a picture inside of them. And also, if you do add a picture, make sure it doesn't have a white background. Like, you know, it's not a big deal. I'll still review them. I'd just rather they didn't have white backgrounds. So let's go over the card itself. Let's see, it's Dragon, 50 attack. You know, I like that. Obviously, it's not supposed to be an attacker, but they didn't give it 0 attack, which means it can still attack, which is still better than having 0, but I guess there are cards that interact with 0 attack better. Like, if this card was out in the field and Venom Swamp was out, it would be destroyed after a turn since it does have attack, whereas if it had 0 attack, it would not be destroyed. Anyways, I'm sure this isn't Venom Swamp support. If this card is in your hand, you can send 1 Dragon's Mirror from your deck to the graveyard, special summon this card, and put 2 head counters on this card. Once per turn during either player's turn, put a head counter on this card. This card counts as 1 plus how many head counters are on this card for the fusion summon of a headed fusion monster. Okay, so 5-headed dragon requires 5 dragon type monsters. So if you use this card, you get to send a Dragon's Mirror to the graveyard. I assume there's going to be a card that allows you to search out that Dragon's Mirror, as Dragon's Mirror is the Dragon Fusion card, which allows you to banish 5 dragons from your graveyard. Well, not just 5. It allows you to fusion summon a dragon monster by banishing dragons from your grave. I mean, they don't have to be dragons. You can use it to bring out that zombie card too. Anyways, this card it can count for 3 immediately, and then during your opponent's turn, it can count for 1 more. So if this card stays out for 1 turn, it'll count as 5 dragons for 5-headed dragon. And I guess you could just use a single poly to bring out 5-headed dragon with this card. That's not half bad. That's a good way to go about it. Because, like, Mask Change, it's a 1-card synchro. It's not half bad. Although with the Mask Change, I think Shadow Mist, or whatever his name is much better than 5-headed dragon. And also, there's cards that gain advantage when they're sent to the graveyard with the Mask Change. You know, whatever. Let's go on to the next one. Special Dragon Fusion. Quick play spell card. Fusion summon 1-headed dragon fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling your banished fusion monster materials into your deck. Okay, so it's kind of like Thunder Dragon Fusion. Except worse? No, I think I get how this is supposed to be played. Okay, so it's quick play. Quick play fusion cards are actually really good. And this one specifically targets your banished cards. It's pretty easy to banish. I guess it's not that easy. I think it's actually kind of harder to get cards banished than it is to get them in the graveyard. But obviously the synergy with this is using Dragon's Mirror on 5 dragons to bring out 5-headed dragon, and then using this card to bring out another 5-headed dragon, or to replace your 5-headed dragon if it gets destroyed, or something like that. Since, you do have the extra monster zone to deal with. It has no other effects though, no way to search it, no graveyard effect, strictly worse than Thunder Dragon Fusion, except for the fact that it is quick play. That actually does give it a nice boost. Next we have Dragon's Treasure Cave. Once per turn, you can send 1 dragon from your deck to the graveyard, add 1 Dragon's Mirror or Special Dragon Fusion from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, you may discard 1 dragon-type monster from your... Wait. Once per turn, you may discard 1 dragon-type monster. Your opponent discards 1 card at random. Okay. So the first effect is pretty good. Sending a dragon-type monster from your deck to the graveyard is a good effect, and it's being treated as a cost. Kind of reminds me of that Phantom Knight Link monster that recently got banned. In order to add a card to your hand. So that's just pure advantage right there. And then another one, it allows you to set up your graveyard while gaining more advantage, setting a dragon from your hand to the graveyard in order to discard a card from your opponent's hand. Those are both good effects. Let's go on to the next card, Protector of the Dragons. I assume this is a Spyro card. So it's a dragon monster with 50 attack and defense. I'm loving how they actually have attack and defense instead of having 0, despite the fact that they're obviously meant to be weak monsters. This card is also treated as an insect type at all times. You can discard this card. Let me just go back a little bit. Since this card is always treated as insect type as well, you should be able to search it from the deck with insect support. And there's lots of insect support that lets you search from the deck. Anyways, you can discard this card, add 1 growing dragon from your deck to your hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard to make 1 growing dragon you control unable to be destroyed by battle or card effects until the next phase. Until the next end phase, you can only use either Protector of the Dragons once per turn. Isn't there already a card called Protector of the Dragons? Let me check. Okay, I checked. No, there isn't. I think there's one called Protector of the Shrine, though. Okay, so you can discard this card to add a growing dragon from your deck to your hand. That alone means, I guess it would see play in this deck. That's pretty good. A 1-for-1 search is always usually pretty darn good. And you can also banish it from your graveyard to protect that card. The growing dragon card, it becomes 5 heads if it's able to exist for a turn, and this card definitely helps it exist for a turn. So that's pretty good synergy. Is its second effect quick effect though? I don't think it is, because you can only use either of these effects one per turn. So if this card is in the graveyard, you can send it from your hand to the graveyard to search out the other dragon, but then you can't use its graveyard effect that turn, and the graveyard effect is spell speed 1, so it won't be able to protect it that turn. I guess it balances it out. If it didn't do that, it would be kind of okay. Anyways, let's go on to this next one. We have the 10-headed dragon. Requires 10 dragon monsters, or 2 5-headed dragons, and it has a really weird stat line of 10,000 attack and 10,001 defense. Also, one of its heads is that little droopy dragon from the D&D memes I see. Anyways, so 10 dragons or 2 5-headed dragons. This card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, except by battle or card effects of a monster with the same attribute as this card. And it's divine. Whoa. This card cannot attack directly. When this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage. If this card leaves the field, special summon 1 5-headed dragon from your extra deck or graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions. From your extra deck? So this card has indestructible status, where it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, on the condition that they're not of the same attribute as them, which is basically no one, since only the god cards have divine attribute, and no one plays them, and there's only like 5 of them in the game. I guess one of them is played sometimes, spear mode, and you could also get rid of this with a kaiju. And giving it piercing damage is pretty good too. It's just, it only has indestructible status, so it can be removed from the field with just like any kind of bounce effect or banishing it. But if this card leaves the field, it floats into a 5-headed dragon. You can just banish this card yourself with like Rolled Legacy Clash or Interdimensional Matter Transporter in order to special summon a 5-headed dragon and then just bring this card back at the end of your turn. I created a whole deck that abuses Elemental Hero Sub-Zero's effect, which basically it's Absolute Cold, I think. His effect is to destroy all your opponent's cards when he leaves the field, and I was able to do that real easily. And this card has the same thing, except it floats into a 5-headed dragon when it leaves the field, which you can absolutely take advantage of, especially since it's not like once per turn. I mean, you can't really abuse these kinds of effects more than once per turn anyway. So that's actually a really good, like its first effect, that high attack, being able to piercing damage, indestructible status. That's all fine and dandy. It's not that great. But then the second one, like, wow, if they do remove it, it floats into a 5k beat stick. That's actually not half bad. Then you just gotta look at its summoning requirements, and it's like, oh, this card's actually really hard to bring out. Never mind. Okay, so, I do like this boss monster. That's pretty great. I wasn't expecting a float into an extra deck monster when being removed from the field. Okay, so that's all of these cards. So, final thoughts on this archetype. It's neat. I do like that boss monster. It's pretty great. It's kind of hard to go into. And the other cards definitely help, but I don't think they really help enough. But then again, dragons, they already have so many ways to probably bring out this card, and win before you ever need to bring this card out. So, it's definitely like worth the power it has. It's just a little bit too hard to bring out. So I think I'll give this archetype a nice solid 7 out of 10. Okay, so that's it for this custom card review. If you have any custom cards you want me to review, just send them to my Twitter, which will be linked in the video description. Until next time.